I'll keep fighting until the American people close the door. That day is not today.
Republican presidential candidate Nikki Haley vowing to stay in the presidential race during a State of the Race speech in South Carolina. Haley currently trails former President Trump by more than 25 points in her home state ahead of Saturday's crucial primary there. Meanwhile, President Biden focused on fundraising, arriving this afternoon at LAX to kick off a 3-day swing through California. He was greeted by LA Mayor Karen Bass and Congresswoman Maxine Waters there at LAX. The campaign and the DNC say they raised $42 million in January, entering February with more than $130 million cash on hand. A surreal scene on Santa Monica Boulevard, empty streets. Stephen Winnick of Carvel Ice Cream sent us this video of the Biden motorcade riding right past his store as it traveled to a fundraiser hosted by Democratic Party boosters Haim Saban and Casey Wasserman, although Deadline just reported that both Saban and Wasserman tested positive for COVID and have to miss tonight's event. Imagine raising millions of dollars and I'm able to go. With more on Biden's swing out west in the state of the 2024 race, I'm joined by Reuters White House correspondent Jeff Mason. Jeff, great to see you.
You too, Alex.
All right,
Too bad about COVID. That's the pits for them, man.
That is not good. I mean, we're talking, like, how much money do you have to raise to be one of the main organizers for something like this?
I don't have a number for that, but it's millions. You know, it's usually for these types of things, it's a really big, high dollar number. Although it's interesting, you mentioned earlier that the campaign did release the figures for January today, and it was $42 million. And they said that most of that money is coming from what they call grassroots donors, who are small dollar donors. They're not the same types of people who are showing up for these big fundraisers, but a big deal either way.
Yeah, I mean, but give us some insight into these big fundraisers. Who are we talking about? What does this look like the next few days for him here in California?
So this is kind of how Biden's campaign has operated for the last several months. He's not doing big rallies the way former President Trump is doing. He's not doing major events where he's out speaking to voters. He's raising money because he is the incumbent president. He really doesn't have a primary. So his job right now is as a candidate is to fill his coffers, and that's what he's doing in California for the next couple of days. He's doing a fundraiser tonight, as you mentioned, and he has fundraisers in the San Francisco area. When he heads there tomorrow, he'll also be doing a speech, which is a non-fundraiser speech, an official event, but that's just kind of couched in between what is primarily a trip out west to bring in dollars.
And that's happening in Culver City tomorrow, and that allows them to sort of write this off as an official trip, right? So that way...
It makes it easier for the Air Force One billing, yes. I mean, I don't know exactly how they do that. I think the campaign will still have to pay for part of that trip, but when they can squeeze in an official event, it means they can give the taxpayer part of the bill.
Yeah, he shows up somewhere for 15 minutes, and there, hey, okay. Official trip. So let's talk about the state of the race right now. This is an average of polls that Real Clear Politics does. It shows Trump and Biden basically in a dead heat right now, a statistical tie. How do you see the state of this race?
Well, it's tricky. It's tight. It's what I was going to say is it's tricky to say because it's early, and those polls that you see on Real Clear Politics and otherwise, when they're national polls, they're a little bit harder to deduce facts or conclusions from. What matters is the swing states, and the swing states of Michigan and South Carolina and some of the others where former President Trump is ahead. That's a concerning sign for President Biden's campaign. But it is February. A lot can happen between now and November. But it's clear that both sides are gearing up for this general election. Former President Trump, of course, still has a primary opponent in Nikki Haley, but he's acting as if he's the Republican nominee, and he's getting pretty close to being it.
Obviously, you work at the White House. You've been the head of the White House correspondence, and was there a turning point from the way that you all talk about Biden publicly with the release of the Her report and the public questioning about his age and mental acuity? Have you noticed a change in the way that the president is covered, the way that White House correspondents talk about him, and the way that maybe American public think about him?
You know, my answer to that is no. I saw some reporting that suggested that the media now all of a sudden is been given a green light to talk about his age, but we've been writing and talking about it for a long time. I wrote a story last fall about the fact that the Democrats don't have a plan B for Biden despite his age and despite concerns about his age. It's something we've been covering this whole time. I do think that it got a lot of attention because of the Hur report and because of the focus that the special counsel put on President Biden being elderly and talking about his memory. And it was a rough day for President Biden because of that. And the press conference that you're playing there, which I was at, focused almost entirely on his age. So there's no doubt, Alex, that there's a lot of focus on it right now, including questions from my colleagues and me in the press corps. But I don't think that means there's been a major shift. I mean, President Biden was old when he ran for office in 2020. He's old now. And it's a weakness for him politically. Yeah. It's a weakness that former President Trump is trying to exploit. And it's one that Democrats have concerns about as well.
Yeah, but this concept that there's a plan B, which somebody asked him about today, and that you're going out there to coordinate with Governor Newsom a plan B is just absurd on every level and not the way this stuff works. And by the way, there is a constitutional plan B. That's the Vice President of the United States. That's literally her job.
That's exactly right.
Is to be the plan B.
There is a constitutional plan B. Yes, but that is just to replace him in office. Right. It's not the same for if he were to no longer be a candidate. And so that is a question. But he's not going anywhere.
All right. Jeff Mason, great reporting as always. We appreciate talking with you. Thanks so much, Jeff.
Thanks, Alex.